Hey everyone, Aussie Viking here to do another video. So last night, I saw Ready Player One. And wow, what a movie. Like, okay. First up, is it the greatest movie ever made? No, it's not. Although, I don't think you really need to call it that. It is a solid film, a great film that's full of pop culture, it's full of Easter eggs, it's full of good characters, it's imaginative and it's inspired, and it does something with it. For me, this is what filmmakers should be if you're making this sort of film. It is fantastic, it is great, Steven Spielberg did a great job, and it's a film that you could watch hundreds of times and just notice different things. That's the beauty of this film. So the film is basically a giant pop culture, just mash-up of pop culture, which is good, for me at least. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, it's too pop culture-ish, no, it's crap. But they said the same thing about the book, and, you know, that's just their reasoning and their justification as to why they hate it. Whatever. If you like this film, you like this film, and it is good. I would actually say it's one of the best Steven Spielberg has actually made in this sort of genre. You know, he's obviously done things like Jaws and Munich and all that, and Private Ryan, but in this sort of genre where it's a big action but imaginative fun film, he really pulls it off really well. So the idea is you follow a guy who goes into virtual reality, the Oasis and stuff like that. And this is awesome. This to me, this feels like our Lawnmower Man. If you haven't seen Lawnmower Man, it's basically a film that was made in 1991, 93, between 91 and 93. And it's a film about virtual reality and stuff like that. And it's okay. It's not that bad. It's definitely cheesy, but it was made in the 90s and the special effects were terrible. But in a way, it showed you what virtual reality could do. And it had these really good ideas of how you could move around virtual reality and what could happen and stuff. It's really good in that sense. Of course, it's got more James Bond as well because Pierce Brosnan's in it. He's actually really good in that. So it's got that. This Ready Player One feels like it's just a evolution of that with less nudity and crazy shit happening. But yeah, it's really good. It's like they got the suits, they've got their walking treadmills and stuff. It's really interesting how they've got everything working. They got suits that, you know, you can feel everything, and you will see in this film they can feel everything, and it's actually really cool. To me, this also shows what virtual reality could become, but it has a good meaning and a good reasoning as to why that's there. So we understand that the theme basically is the idea of corporates and greed, but also the fact of it's good to have an imagination, it's good to enjoy something, but sometimes you can't just live in this world. You got to go in the real world and, you know, be with people. Like, it's a good message there. It's not over the top. It's kind of like, it's very clear cut. It's not, sort of like the main villain actually kind of like, by the end of the film, the main villain made me go, wow, that's really interesting. And the main characters were just really good too. The biggest main characters obviously is the guy and the main female. They're the best ones there. Of course, there are the side characters that are pretty good as well. But the main ones are these two, and they do a great job. There's some great chemistry there, there's some great acting there, and honestly, they look and feel like nerds, you know? They don't look like The Rock, or they don't look like like Adam Driver. They look like real people that would actually be into this sort of shit. They're not dolled up, beautiful Hollywood ladies. They're not dolled up, muscly men. They're real people, and I really like that. Everybody in this film feels like a real person, and that's great to do. And then there's the imaginative side of things. Like, my God, if you are a video game fan or a fan of pop culture, old school and new school, you will love this film. It's mostly 70s and 80s, 90s pop culture, more so than, well, probably actually 70s, 80s pop culture, more so than modern. But it does it in a good way. So there is a lot of modern pop culture in there, but it's not at the forefront. The forefront stuff are things like aliens and what else, like horror films and action films and stuff like that. They're mostly in the forefront. The pop culture from, say, like things like Overwatch and Halo and Mass Effect and all that, they're there, but they're not exactly, you see them in the background more so. And there are some quick cuts where it's like, oh look, there's the Spartans from Halo, or look, there's Tracer from Overwatch. They're there, but it's mostly focuses on a lot of 70s and 80s. That's the main focus, which I like. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely like, because I love that sort of era. I love that style. But I hope if they do a sequel, which I go and see, so we can get a sequel, because I think the guy that wrote the book's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna do a sequel in a book form, and I'm hoping God damn it, Steven Spielberg can actually do a sequel too, because he did really good in this. If there is a sequel though, I would hope to see more, and I actually got these the day, yesterday before I saw the film too, is hope we see more of this, Star Wars, which I'll obviously do a video on later on, and I hope we see more of this, Metal. Could you imagine, now this is just me here, but could you imagine a world where it's like, oh yeah, the Oasis is upgraded and stuff, and there's some new worlds, like heavy metal world, and you just have like just a massive heavy metal rock and roll world, and I would love that. That would be my greatest film ever if you just had that like a main. I could just imagine an area where everyone's just like big epic war battle, and it's like, we need some music to get this shit going, and someone's like, I got some rap, and it's like, nah, guy dressed up as Doom guy walks in, I got better shit, whacks down like this full on metal looking skull looking stereo player, and he's like, here we go, and he puts like Crater on or Opeth or something like that, just like songs of music you wouldn't really listen to, or if you have got a good taste in music you would totally listen to. Just imagine that, and then there's a giant war with like Crater thrash metal or melodic death metal. Oh, okay, I gotta make the sequel now. I gotta shoot the sequel. It's a great film, and I implore everyone to see it, even if you're not a fan of pop culture and video games. There's a good message here that would, I think, a lot of people would go, oh wow, I never realized that, because there's a lot of things that make you go, oh wow, that's actually really good. And there's also that like underlying theme of people going to video games to get away from the real world and like be with their own people and understand their own people, which is easier. You know, talking to people face to face is harder, but going in there and, you know, in a video game is a lot easier and more funner. You know, why would I live in a real world where I can go into a virtual reality world and be the most biggest badass I could be? There's some great messages here, and it's very well mixed. I think it's very well done, and I can't wait for this to come out on DVD. I want this on DVD so I can see it again and again and again. I'm gonna buy the living shit out of this film. I think the best thing is it feels like a fun film. It's just a fun film, great characters, great themes, great ideas, and that's it. It's not going to change the landscape of filmmaking, but it doesn't need to. It's a fun, great, solid film. Thumbs up. I would totally give it a thumbs up, and I implore you to go see it if you haven't seen it yet. Great film. Which, like I said, I hope we get a sequel which has more metal and Star Wars in it. But what's great is like it's just so crazy that they had all these things come in it. Like the amount of money or like licenses they had to get for this game or this movie is insane. Oh my god, like there is some crazy shit. There's references to Mortal Kombat, there's references to Alien and Predators and like Japanese things and weirder things and stuff. There was no The Way, you know, we don't hear anything of like, you're not The Way, which is probably realistic to be truthful. Could you imagine that? It's a great film. If you just love a film with imagination, go for it. This is your film. This is a fantastic film. This is why I think it's one of the best films that I've ever seen, to an extent, because it does what I think filmmaking should be. It's a fun, imaginative, inspired film that does something with it. It does what it does, and it is great to see. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Ready Player One. I really liked it. Hopefully there wasn't much... I try not to get spoilers, but although there's one thing I do want to say. It's fucking Chucky. If you don't know what that means, watch the film, because it's one of the greatest scenes in this whole film. Anyway, Aussie Viking out. Us in Valhalla. Bye.